All right, welcome to The Explainer. You know, some of the most powerful learning we ever do doesn't come from a textbook. It happens when we're put inside an experience, kind of like a black box, where the rules feel a little strange, but the results, well, they can change everything. Today, we're going to pry that box right open.
So if you've ever peeked into a drama class, you might have wondered, what is going on in there? People are walking in imaginary bubbles or pretending they're animals. It looks, let's be honest, a little weird. But the research we're diving into today, from a really fascinating thesis on theater education, shows that these games hold a huge secret about how all of us learn complicated, hands-on skills.
And to really get it, let's follow one student's journey. We're going to watch them go through an exercise called the concentration bubble. By seeing how they move from being totally confused to actually mastering this thing, we can map out this incredible, universal pattern of true self-learning.
Now, according to this research, that journey from beginner to expert isn't just about fumbling around in the dark. It actually follows 3 clear phases. First, you discern. That's the aha moment where you suddenly see what you're supposed to be learning. Then you explore it, you play with it, you test it. The research calls this intra-acting, which basically means you're not just using a skill, you're in a dance with it, changing and learning as you go. And finally, you own it. It becomes part of you. Let's see what that actually looks like. This quote from a student just nails those first 2 phases.
See, at first they're just following the rules, right? They're picturing this fragile bubble they're trying not to pop. But then something clicks. They discern a new feeling. It's not just some make-believe bubble anymore. It's a real portable sense of focus. And that's when they start to explore. How far can I move with it? What happens if someone gets too close? They're literally playing with the idea until it becomes real for them.
And that exploration leads right into the final phase. They own it. The bubble isn't some delicate thing they have to constantly think about. Nope. It's now what the research calls a bodily concept. It's not just an idea in their head, it's a tool, a state of being they can just switch on whenever they need to focus. Okay, but this is where it gets really, really cool. This deep kind of self-learning, it doesn't just pop up because a student decides to try hard. There's a secret ingredient inside that black box, something that creates the perfect conditions for this kind of breakthrough. So what is it? What's the magic sauce? Well, the secret isn't just the exercise. It's the entire environment. It's all about building a special kind of learning space that is so much more than just a room. The research has a name for this, the sensory field. Just think about the energy in a room when everyone is completely locked in on the same thing. It's that shared atmosphere of attention, this current of group focus that you can almost feel, almost touch. You can kind of swim in it. And that field lets you learn not just from the teacher, but with and through every single person in that room. So what does it feel like to be in this sensory field? A student described it perfectly. After an exercise where the entire group tries to do something at the exact same time without a signal, like all jumping at once, he said you get in touch with this theater muscle. And that's it, right there. That muscle is the feeling of tapping into that field, of sensing the group's collective mind. It's amazing. So if students are learning by themselves in this kind of collective energy field, what's the teacher even for? What's their job in all this? Well, it's probably not what you're thinking. This research makes a strong case against the teacher being a hoarder of exercises. You know, someone with a big binder of games they just hand out. No. The best teacher acts more like a curator. They're not just giving out instructions, they are meticulously designing an experience. Their job is to build and maintain that sensory field where students have the freedom to discover things for themselves. They're the architect of the whole thing. But, you know, there's a flip side. There's a trap here that even the pros can fall into. It's the danger of getting so comfortable with something that you just stop learning. You're just going through the motions. And this trap can lead to some pretty funny wake-up calls. There's this great story about 2 advanced students doing an improv scene where one of them goes to the store. Suddenly, he stops and realizes that every time he's done this scene, for years, he's imagined buying the exact same chocolate bar. It's a hilarious moment, but it's also a perfect example of how easily we all get stuck in our own comfortable habits without even knowing it. It shows why shaking things up is just so vital. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. Because even though all these ideas are coming from the world of theater, this is not just about acting. This whole framework points to a fundamental truth about how we, as humans, get good at any complex physical skill.
You see this three-phase journey absolutely everywhere. Think about learning to play the guitar. First, you discern the shape of a chord. Then you explore it, fumbling as you switch between chords. Eventually, you own it. Your fingers just know where to go without you thinking. It's the exact same pattern for perfecting a tennis serve, learning to speak another language, or even learning to code. You go from conscious effort to pure intuitive action. It's a universal path to mastery. And the end goal of all of this is to create a bodily concept. That's the moment a skill moves out of your thinking brain and into your body's own native intelligence. You don't have to talk yourself through the steps anymore. It's the difference between thinking, okay, push the clutch, move the stick, ease off the clutch, and just driving. You don't just know how to do it, you are it. So that brings us to the final question for you. We all have things we want to learn, skills we want to master. So what would happen if you stopped trying so hard to just get it right, and instead you started curating your own experience? If you focused on creating your own immersive space, your own sensory field for learning? What black box in your own life is just sitting there, waiting for you to unlock it and start to play?